Hello everyone, this is Melissa with Haven Craft, and this is part of our ongoing series of classes on Tarot in depth. Today we are going over the threes of the Minor Arcana, and I'm going to run through this really quickly because I started class a little bit late and I'm kind of crunched for time. So, as always, feel free to send me any questions that you might have over the information I'm about to roll through rapidly via email at havencraftsupplies@gmail.com, havencraftsupplies@gmail.com, or in the comments below. So we're going to start with the Three of Wands, which is generally called the card of virtue. Upright in Rider-Waite, it is supposed to be a card that is favorable enterprise. So whatever you're launching forwards to is going to go well. Upside down, it's toil and disappointment. The Book of Thoth, so the Thelemites, Aleister Crowley, again call this the Lord of Virtue. It is the idea of will and dominion, which has become interpreted in character. It is also an establishment of primal energy. In Golden Dawn, it is the Lord of established strength, power, strength, magnetism, considered both general and of a sexual nature. Mathers returns back to somewhat like the Rider-Waite definition with enterprise, undertaking, anything that represents commerce, trade, negotiation going well. Intriguingly though, Mathers has it going well whether it's upright or reversed. Atala has it as enterprise, the beginning of something, being brash and bold and adventurous and audacious and going forth in that way. Reversed, this leads to troubles and pain and toil, also cessation of your efforts. Theron's has it as enterprise and efforts, trade, commerce, discovery, etc., daring, temerity, impudence, and Paul Foster Case has it back to established strength. So, courage, persistence, ill-dignified, it's conceit and arrogance. So, I'm actually going to run through all of them in the 5 systems and then come back and talk about what I think they symbolize in a minute. So, we're going to do the Three of Cups next, which is abundance.
You say I can't tilt.
Actually, Fuss says you can't tilt in the chair.
So...
You don't like it either, so...
Rider-Waite has it as plenty, perfection, merriment, victory, fulfillment, and healing. Reversed, it's expedition, dispatch, achievement, and end. It also signifies an excess in the pleasures of the senses, so think like Dionysus, lots of cups, and excess. The Book of Thoth has it as abundance. It is called the Lord of Abundance. The idea of love has come to fruition, but this is now sufficiently far down the tree to introduce a very definite differentiation between the suits, which was not previously possible, so it is considered a great indicator of dreams coming true. Golden Dawn has it as the Lord of Abundance as well, so it is the full measure of all good things under proper understanding of the situation at hand. So this is benefit, pleasure, prosperity. Mathers has it as success, triumph, victory, and Upside Down has it as vigilance, so that's interesting. Atala, again, success, fortunate outcome, victory, healing, cure, relief, fulfillment. Reversed is expedition, dispatch, execution, achievement, and end, some kind of a conclusion. Theron's also has it as success and victory and accomplishment, cures and healing and fulfillment. As does Paul Foster Case, who simplifies this as enjoyment. Three of Swords is the Sorrow card. Rider-Waite has it as removal, absence, delay, division, rupture. Reversed is mental alienation, error, loss, distraction, disorder, and confusion. The Book of Thoth has it as the idea of division, of mutability, the idea of the Lord of Sorrows. You are reminded of darkness, of mourning, of sorrow dependent upon any individual disappointment or discontent. Da, da, da. my Golden Dawn has it as the Lord of Sorrow, so sorrow of a deep and brooding nature. And upside down, intriguingly, has it as the release from said sorrow. Mathers has it as separation, removal, rupture, or quarrel. And reversed has it as error, confusion, misrule, and disorder. Atela has this as estrangement, departure, absence, dispersion, remote. So basically any kind of aversion and separation therefrom. Reversed has it as distraction, insanity, and delirium. So that's interesting. Paul Foster Case has it as the kind of understanding that you only get through sorrow. And Theron's has it as rupture, division, removal, aversion, hatred, disgust, being contrary. So, told you I was going to split through these really quick because I tend not to agree with any of these. So, 3 of Pentacles is the card of work.
The only one of them that you actually more or less agree with.
Well, I mean, I agree with sort of the main overarching theme, but not necessarily with how that would work in a reading, and I'll get into that in a minute. So, Rider-Waite has the 3 of Pentacles as trade or skilled labor. Reversed would be mediocrity, weakness in the quality of your work. Book of Thoth has this as the 3 of Discs, and it is the idea of earth. So the Lord of Work being all of your material work. Golden Dawn has the 3 of Pentacles as the Lord of the material world, and it is a gain in the areas of marketplace or business or mundane efforts. Mathers has it as nobility, elevation, dignity, rank, and power, and Reversed has this as representing your children, because why not? Atela has this as noble, celebrated, magnificent, lofty, illustrious work, the kind that you do magnificently and that makes you splendid and noble, and Reversed has this, again, as childlikeness, either representing your children or representing you behaving like a child, rather than behaving like an adult who has embraced your work. Paul Foster Case, sorry, got a little lost in my notes, relates this to everything to do with the mundane Malkuth work and everything about it, so all of your efforts upon the planet rather than in the spiritual realm. Theron's has this, again, tracing back to some kind of a nobility, being noble because you do good works upon the world, and makes the distinction that it is skilled labor rather than unskilled labor. I personally don't think there's any such thing as unskilled labor, simply unvalued labor, but that's just me.
For anyone who doesn't believe that, go try chopping enough firewood for winter. We'll be here. Your leg might not.
Right. I know, why don't you go try and pick cotton, and you let me know how your fingertips feel after your first hour or so. Alright,
So, sorry. So that interpretation is actually almost Confucianist.
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically that the 3 only represents skilled labor and the labor of the nobility, and not the unskilled labor of the teeming masses, which I personally find offensive, but remember that this was a game played by the rich, so their interpretations may vary from mine. Okay, so let's talk about my interpretation of the 3s. I told you that I consider the aces to be inception in the interior world, the beginning of the idea that stretches all the way to culmination at the 10. And I've told you that I think of these as representing your inner world, your dedication, your initiation into the idea, and you deciding what you're going to do and what you want. And that upright there, what you want, and reverse there, you not knowing what you want or how to get what you want. And that the 2 is the introduction of the outer world. Now this could be just starting to take a step towards gaining the goal, or this could be an introduction of another person's opinion, or even the existence of outer opinions on what you're trying to make happen. This can also be looking in the mirror and actually considering the effect of the outer world on the inception of this idea within. So say that the Ace of Cups for you is you realizing that you're gay. And then the Two of Cups would be you realizing that the outer world, in many cases, dislikes this idea and would oppose you or seek to dehumanize you because of how you were born and what you desire and who you love. Then we have the Three, which so now it's not just we are aware of the outer world, or we are aware that there are these forces beyond us. Now we're actually interacting with them. So let's talk about that. I think, did we start with Wands? I want to go...
We started with Wands.
Okay. So, Wands we've talked about as being the flashlight card. I have an idea, I have a passion, I have a direction that I want to go. How am I going to get there? These are the cards that illuminate the path before you, and these are the cards that are going to be that flame within you that keeps you going on this path even when you're surrounded by opposition or there's something opposing or blocking you. So in this particular case, we have the Ace being, I want this thing. This is my light at the end of the tunnel. This is my passion. This is my drive. The Two being, okay, I know my drive. The outer world is going to introduce these challenges. Now the Three is actually starting to interact with those challenges and setting forth. So in my cards, you can see the person is sort of launching a ship into the distance. That's the idea here. I'm interacting with this outer world and I am starting to actually proceed forward. So the Ace is, I want. The second is, I understand there is an outer world and it's going to affect me in these ways. And the Three is, now I'm actually moving in it. When it's upright, that movement is probably going to go pretty well, but hey, watch out. Other people have their drives. Other people have the things that they want, and they may be counter to you proceeding forward, hence the wands behind the person's back that he's not paying attention to. He's so busy launching his ship out into the distance that he's not really thinking about other people's ship, like a boat.
I know. I just heard.
Yep, I heard you. Yep, I understand, sweetheart, and you absolutely have the right to ask me not to say a foul word in your presence, but I wasn't saying it, okay? So, you are not maybe paying as much attention to other people's drives and other people's goals and how they may run counter to your own.
That's interesting because the Two of Wands is behind him, like he forgot about the possible obstacles.
Exactly. The Two is where you start thinking about that outer world. Mm-hmm. And with Wands, which are such a card of drive and passion and focus and proceeding forward, that you kind of forget about the Two.
And not,
mm-hmm. So upside down, that ship hasn't either launched yet, you haven't quite figured out how to do it, or in the efforts of launching that ship, in the efforts of moving forward on that illuminated path, you immediately got struck by that opposition, by that outer world blocking you in some way. So a great thing to do in that particular case is pull a, why are they blocking me? How do I deal with them blocking me? What is my way around this blockage? Different questions that you can ask for clarification. Okay, what did I do next? I did cups. Thank you.
Here to help.
So, the Ace of Cups, like I said, is what do you want in your emotional world? When you're a kid, what did you cover your notebooks with? What was surrounded by hearts? What was your big, deep desire? And people always think that what I mean here, I see what you covered your notebook with. Those are really beautiful patterns.
Cool.
And then the other side has...
It's okay. Oh, see? Yep, a big heart. That's perfect. Thank you, sweetheart. What a great example. Everyone always thinks that what I mean here is like your first crush that you surrounded with hearts, and it can be. For a great many people, the first thing they think when they think hearts is who do they love and what do they desire in a romantic and or sexual relationship. And it can mean that. But it can also mean the deepest emotional hunger of your heart, which for some people isn't another person. Which is why the 2 is partnership, not necessarily who your that's not the lover's card. The lover's card is a different card. It is, okay, now that your heart is interacting with the outer world, how do other people's hearts come into this equation? So now the 3rd is, we've examined how other people's hearts come into this equation, which, say, if we're doing queer interpretations, is the 2 might be the 2 of Cups upside down, where you're realizing that other people think your love is wrong. Or
it might be right side up if you're surrounded by a support system.
Or it might be right side up if you're surrounded by a support system, or you've already found your emotional partner, or you've accepted the outer world and learned how to interact with it. The 3 would then be more people injecting their emotional world along with yours. Now, we've talked about the nature of the suits before, where the wand is this driving, passionate force, and the pentacles are this stability and safety and security, and the swords are instinct and our desire to be safe, and our intellect and how we defend ourselves. So by the very nature of the card, we start introducing other people's hearts into it. There's an abundance of emotional energy, which, if it's upright, is a positive thing, where there's a lot of people who are speaking from the heart and feeling from the heart and injecting their emotional abundance into the situation. When it's upside down, it's a negative thing. And believe me, when hearts get involved, the outer world can be a negative thing. It can overwhelm you. It can sweep you away. So think of any time the cups are upside down as sort of the negative side of water. The negative side of water is that it can drown you. It can sweep you away. It can overwhelm you. It can turn you topsy-turvy. So when these other emotional perspectives come into the situation, you have this either being a positive or a negative force. When it's negative, do you even know what you want anymore? Go back to the beginning. What was the emotional desire? When it's positive, other people injecting their emotions either widens your world and you have a better understanding of the emotional reality of the situation for a positive way. When it's upside down, you have a better understanding of the emotional situation in a negative way, as in you are overwhelmed. That make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then it was this one? Nope. I'm all out of order. You'd think I would have set them down in order. So by the nature of the suit, something that represents our instinct to protect ourselves, something that represents our willingness to trust our instincts even when the world runs counter to them, our willingness to act on the intelligence within us rather than what the outer world tells us. As soon as you start introducing the broader world, the outer world, there's conflict. There's conflict between what you are told and what you know to be true. There's conflict between your desire to remain safe and your desire to interact with anyone at all. As soon as you interact with the outer world, you're not safe anymore. It's not actually possible for you to be entirely safe, whether that's emotionally, physically, mentally. Life contributes a great deal of pain. That doesn't mean it's not worth it, but that is the nature of it. That as soon as you love someone, they can hurt you. As soon as you listen to someone else's opinion, it can be a barb that is used against you. As soon as you respect the intellect and instincts of others, then that curtails your own intellect and instincts, and you have to find a balance there. This is that conflict. And when it's up Right. You're aware of it and can sort it out. You can sort of see the different sides. So you can clearly see the three swords. This is their perspective, their intellect, their instincts, their desire to be saved. This is mine. And this is where we are in balance, and this is where we're countered. And this is going to hurt the heart. Always. Even if it proceeds as best as possible, there is pain there. When it's upside down, the situation is unclear, or there is no way out of it that doesn't cause more pain. You don't really understand or cannot countenance the perspective of others. Or maybe you've gotten so overwhelmed by their perspective and their desire to keep themselves safe and their intelligence on the situation that you've lost track of your own. Three of Pentacles. Told you guys I was going to run through this really fast. Because we still have to do common card combinations.
That makes so much sense with the swords.
Three of Pentacles. Pentacles represents stability, security, feeling like there's solid ground underneath your feet, but like you're not building on sand. So the first one is, what makes me feel stable and secure? What are my goals when it comes to this stability and security? So the ace is, I will feel stable and secure if I get a really good education. The ace is, I will feel stable and secure if I have a nice house. The ace is, I will feel stable and secure if I have a good job. The two is, again, the insertion of that outer world. And coming to balance between what is possible for you and what is not possible for you. So if you think about the image of the two, it's the guy holding the two pentacles and there's a storm tossing around him, but he is calm and balanced and secure. Upside down, the storm is succeeding. So introducing the outer world is everything you've learned about the world. What does that tell you about your safety and your security and your goals there? Does it encourage you in that idea that school will make you safe, or does it discourage you? Does it encourage you in that idea that a good job will provide security, or does it discourage you? When it's upside down, you're not actually applying those lessons, so you don't have that stability and security from coming from the outer world. The three is, again, we've looked at the outer world, we've understood it, now we're moving in it. So in this case, that would be you're actually building that stability and security, and you're starting to see your efforts pay off. So you see the guy, and he has the one, and he's hanging it with the other two he's made. You have made that stability and security as a real thing that is measurable, that you can look at. That's what happens when you take the pentacles and move them into the outer world.
That makes sense.
A manifestation of that. That's a really good way of looking at the threes. Is there a manifestation of moving out into that world? The very nature of the suit manifests in the outer world. Upside down, he's still putting in the work. He's putting in all the effort. He's building the pentacles, but they're falling away from him. So this would be like, I went to school, I got my bachelor's degree, I have all this student loan debt, and everybody told me that this was going to make me feel stable and secure, and that you can get a good job, and you know what? Now I've put in all this money, and I've put in all this effort, and I don't feel safe, I don't feel secure, I feel panicked. Where is all my effort gone? Okay. Let's talk about these with common card combinations. And I'm going to tell you the most common card combination I get with all of the threes is death. And this always freaks out the people that I'm reading for, because they go, oh my gosh, it's the death card. Death represents the closing of one door and the opening of another. That's all it represents, the closing of one and the opening of another.
I was one of those people.
Yep, you freaked out when you saw the death card.
I'm like,
It does not mean you're gonna die. It does not mean you're gonna die.
For anyone who is familiar with the phrase, no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy.
That's exactly what this is. You have stepped out into the outer world. You have made contact with something you don't control and which has a habit of wrecking your plans. You had that drive, you considered the outer world in the two, and then you moved into it. And even though you thought you understood everything when you were standing in the two, turned out you didn't. When the death card is upright with any of these, that's a good sign. It means although the first door slammed and that planned contact with the outer world didn't work out very well, there is going to be a new opportunity where it does work out well. When the death card is upside down, it means that you've got to work a little harder to find that door. It's there somewhere, but you're still in the process where the one is slamming, so you haven't started looking for the other option yet. Finish, letting it slam, and then move forward. It will proceed. Okay. Second common card combination is the Devil. The Devil represents things that chain us in place, represents things that block us and do not allow us to proceed forward. We've interacted with the outer world now, and there was probably a blockage somewhere there that you didn't consider. Maybe it's such a part of the background of your life that it doesn't even occur to you yet. And I'm going to give you a concrete example here in just a second. Yes, Alexander?
I finished my third book. Okay, so book...
Not right now.
Not right now, sweetheart. Can you tell me after class? Thank you. So I used the student loan example. The background of our world here in the United States, if you're in the United States, is go to college, get a good job. That's what everyone says over and over again. Go to college, get a good job. Go to college, get a good job. So you did that. That was you interacting with the outer world. And then the Devil card pops up. The Devil card is student loan debt and an economy that just doesn't have enough jobs. And an older generation that really fundamentally misunderstands this and did not well inform you of the situation you were entering. So there was a big block there that you may just have not even noticed until it was too late. When the Devil card is upright, you're going to have to try and figure a way around that block, but it is a big block and it is in the way. When the Devil card is upside down, you've already started clambering up over that blockage, and you will eventually break free and find success. It may not be the success you originally planned. That block may have completely shortcutted that. You just don't even have the option of that path anymore. But you do have one. Common card combinations. The Chariot.
For all of these?
Yep. You are moving forward. It may be slow, it may be bumpy, it may be difficult, but you are making progress. Upside down, you're stagnating. Your wheels are spinning and you're having trouble moving forward. So that's really common with the threes. We interact with the outer world and it suddenly feels like everything's slowed to a crawl. You had all this passion. You had all these plans. You had all these ideas. You thought you knew what you were getting into. You jump into the outer world and everything goes like you're going through mud. And every footstep forward is torturous. As long as the Chariot is upright, you are making progress. If the Chariot is not upright, it's upside down, you're stagnant and you're ceasing to make progress. So a good thing to pull here would be why? How do I fix it? Do I need to find a different road? Do I need to take a vacation and recharge my batteries?
Am I dealing with an untrustworthy business partner, or am I,
The Magician is the next one. You have all the tools before you to solve the situation at hand. You interacted with the outer world, something went wrong. You have all of the tools before you to solve it, but you may need to reshuffle which one you're using. So it tends to pop up if you're, say, on the Pentacles and you pull the Magician, look at the other suits to solve the problem. So look at the Swords, look at the Wands, look at the Cups. and this goes for any of them. You pull the magician with the sword, then look at the other ones. You pull it with the cups, then look at the other ones. Say you pulled the magician upside down. You don't have the tools, but somebody does. So pull the cards for who do I need to communicate with that can help me here.
Got it. 8 of Swords.
Okay, so,
You encountered the outer world and got trapped.
yeah, you encounter 8 of Swords. You encounter the outer world and got trapped. The world does not mean you well, took advantage of your naivety, took advantage of your passion or your hunger or your drive, and you got stuck.
Yeah, I think we see that mostly with people who either get a sugar daddy or with the LGBTQ scene.
Yeah, I see that a lot with the LGBTQ scene, where I pull the 8 of Swords of the world is just against you. There's so many people whose drive to protect themselves has become a drive to destroy you because they don't understand the situation. Their perspective on it is that you are somehow a threat to them, even when you're not. In that particular case, the cards you would be pulling are, where are my allies? Where am I safe? How do I get out of this cage? Okay, so now we are moving into how to use these in spells.
Yes.
How fast can I go through this? Very fast. So for something like this, I always like to use candles with the wands. It just seems to work with them so well. I've also been known to use a flashlight for a spell with the wands, where I'm trying to find the path, I can't find the path, I'm going to set on my spell table my wand card upright and a flashlight.
Like that.
If you are trying to have success in this very first venture, then this would be the card to add to any success spells that you're doing. Specifically, add it upright. If you are trying to clear up something that has interfered with your success and you're trying to figure out who's actually opposing you here, who are these wands behind your back, then you would combine it with something like Eyebright. I want to see this situation clearly.
Okay.
Okay? 3 of Cups upright is really great if you are trying to attract allies, if you are trying to attract people whose emotions support your own, who help you with your emotional labor, who are a bedrock of emotional support and love that you can count on. So if you're moving to a new city and you want to find the community that's going to love you and welcome you, then that's a great thing to use the 3 of Cups for. If you are if you've just walked away from a group of friends that it turned out weren't really your friends, because that does happen, then you could start with the card upside down as you do the spell to sever the ties with those people, maybe represented by the 2 of Swords. And then as the spell goes on, move the card so that it is facing upright, with ingredients such as rose and lavender and maybe some snakeskin sheds, for I've shed the skin of this previous friendship and I'm seeking a better one. Okay, the swords. Swords are so complicated in that they represent both someone's instincts and their intelligence and their desire to be safe. Which, if you know much about the workings of the human mind, then it makes perfect sense. With something like this, where you are entering into conflict, I would mostly do these for conflict resolution spells. How do I get out of this conflict faster, smoother, with less pain? So, any kind of prosperity and stability spell, something where you are trying to build ongoing stability and prosperity for yourself. So good combinations would be gold dust, gold flakes, goldstone, literal money, bay leaves, anything that represents a home. So shells, cat's eye shells, nautilus shells, fig bark.
Sorry, this one is also going to vary depending on what it is that gives you the feeling of safety.
Right, if yours is school, that's going to be different than a spell to get a safe home.
Especially if yours is religious.
Yes, if what makes you feel strong, stable, and secure is your religion and your religious background, that's going to tweak these dramatically. Okay.
I just wanted to note that possibility because we tend to leave it out.
And last, we go through using these for spirit communication.
Although, honestly, the majors are often better for that.
Yes. In that particular case, I would almost use a major to represent the figure that you're attempting to talk to, and then use this to represent the problem that you're having. But we can...
Oh. No running and no swords.
The Three of Cups would be a good one if you were trying to find comfort and allies in the spiritual world. So if you're trying to attract positive spirits rather than negative spirits. If you've
positive to you.
If you've attracted ones that are very negative to you, then maybe print the card out on computer paper or something not expensive and burn it in the upside down position as a banishing. If you are trying to communicate with any of the spirits of hard work paying off, like, I just completely blanked his name. Hephaestus, thank you.
Was he the one you were thinking of?
That was actually,
Thank you.
then, or any of the, like, Brigitte, the blacksmith of the gods, then this would be an excellent card to communicate with them, because it literally represents hard work paying off. Yes, you could talk to Teki. So, the goddess of technique.
Yeah.
So, those would be good ones for that. Any of the gods of enterprise would be good with this one. Any of the spirits or gods of successful enterprise.
Or any spirit or god specifically associated with the goal that you're moving towards.
Right, or any of the spirits or the gods that represent the goal that you are moving towards. This I would use more as a card to represent the problem at hand and seek advice from the spirits that you talk to, rather than this representing... The only figure that I could think that this would represent very, very well is Nemesis. You have interacted with the outer world, and there are those who do not mean you well, or whose instincts say that you are somehow a threat to their own safety. So Nemesis, or Nike, the goddess of victory.
Nemesis or Nike, if you're in the Greek pantheon, Tyr would work fairly well.
Tyr would work if you're in the Norse.
Possibly Lu, if you're
Lu.
in the Celtic.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So figures that represent understanding that the world does not always mean you well, and how to get around it. So actually, quite a few of the demon princes could be represented by that one. Alrighty, that is our class for today. If you have any questions, I know I ran through it super fast. I am sorry about that. I was waiting for someone to arrive. Yes, you can go first. Please feel free to send me any questions that you may have, and I'll see you all next week for the 4s of the Minor Arcana.